Hello, Livable City family. Welcome to 25% More Joy, our segment where we talk to everyday San Franciscans about how they're reclaiming the streets for joy and connection in their own lives. Well, San Francisco streets, they connect us to work, home, school, food, and fun. And they're also 25% of San Francisco's landmass. So that's why here at Livable City, we're really excited to hear from folks from all across the city and all walks of life about how they're taking space in their streets to create more joy and more connection in their life. And today we're super excited to have Manny from Manny's and the SFMTA board here to talk about how he's reclaiming streets for joy. So welcome, Manny.
Thank you, Katie. I'm so honored to be here and be a part of this. Obviously, big fan of Livable City and everything that you guys do. And it's been wonderful partnering over the last few months and excited to get into it.
Yes, and we're excited. It's been wonderful partnering with you. So, little known fact, or maybe it's a big known fact by now, but Livable City has been helping Manny on Valencia Street, transforming 3 blocks of Valencia into a car free oasis during this pandemic. So, actually, can you tell us a little bit about your Friendly Neighborhood Open Streets program, Manny?
Yeah, so it all kind of started last summer when, the businesses continued to be boarded up into the summer on Valencia and around the city. And there was a fear amongst the Valencia Corridor Merchants Association that permanent damage was going to be done by the fact that our customers just were not coming to the corridor. It just looked sad. There was no energy. It felt dead on Valencia. And so that's when we engaged the city to see if they'd let us close the street to cars so that we could, safely expand out past the sidewalk, increasing the capacity for retail and food and beverage establishments, and also to create a kind of a feature, an attraction to bring people back to the corridor to re-experience what they had been missing. And we got the permits at the end of July. It's been almost a year, a little about 10 months of this program, and the hours have changed a bit and the blocks have changed a bit, but it's totally transformed Valencia Street for the better. It's been good for business. It has saved many of the businesses on the blocks, but it's also been good for the community. It's been good for the health of the community, both emotionally and physically. And it's created a lot of opportunities for joy. I guess that's what this is called, isn't it? But
It
there,
is, yeah, we're lots of joy. Yes.
there's just been so many moments where I've walked down the closure and I've seen like kids chalking the street and people playing jazz and friends catching up. And the last year has been so dark emotionally. And that so I feel very lucky to have been able to work alongside many, many other people, all the volunteers and the paid staff and the folks at the city who evaluated the street closure to create opportunities for joy on the street that I have a business on, but also many people in San Francisco love and hold dear. So it's been beautiful. We're in the process of thinking about what a longer term plan might be for the street closure, but um,
That's
it's,
exciting. That's
it's
very
something I'm really proud of. I'm really proud to have been a part of.
Well, you should be proud of it. I mean, San Francisco, Valencia Street is so much the psychic kind of center of beautiful, vibrant commercial corridors, right? When you think of like where do you want to hang out in San Francisco, you think of Valencia Street, and it is so heartening to know that you and all of your fellow merchants um, rallied around to make sure that Valencia still maintains that space in our heart and our souls here in San Francisco and is vibrant and is that cool, funky corridor to go walk on and see life and vibrancy on. So I appreciate all of your efforts with that. So with that, we talk so much about, how the pandemic took away things from our lives, especially as city dwellers, right? We weren't able to have all of our touchstones, but really opening up the streets and kind of creating these extra spaces did give a lot of folks opportunity to get something back and get something that they never had before. Can you talk a little bit about what the streets gave back to you this year?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that has been hardest to replicate, and that I imagine we've all missed the most, is community,
Mhm.
because we were not allowed to gather and see each other really. Um, with the exception of being able to do it outdoors with distance and wearing masks. And we could have easily said, well, that's just altogether too complicated. And so everyone just stay in your apartments and, I hope I'll see you on the other side. But instead, what San Francisco and a lot of cities did was, okay, so these are our parameters. This is what we can do. How do we continue to live as human beings with social engagement, with community building and creation? How can we go on dates and love each other with these parameters, outdoors, socially distanced, masked, etc. And the closed streets, the shared spaces, the parklets, the commercial parklets, they've all been an exercise in trying to continue to be human in a very dehumanizing time. Because as we all know, one can only spend so much time behind a screen, in front of their laptop, on their phone. That's not being a human being. That's not living a human life. That is unhealthy. And we need to see each other and be with each other in order to live. And so I have been very grateful that we found a way to do it, and that we live in a city with weather that permits it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, I mean, every time I've been out to one of the shared spaces, street closure, that's exactly like this is allowing us to stay connected to our humanity. Without this, we would like, we're going to just be even more frazzled at the end of this and totally clueless as to how to interact as human beings, right? Like, and there's just nothing like hearing the chatter of children, playing and giggling and people talking over, a plate of food that they're sharing, that just it's the sounds of humanity, right? It reminds you that there is society and life out there still, and is so has been such a self through all of this. So yeah, for sure. Okay, so now again, I'm reading all these think pieces about like what did the year in the pandemic do to us, what are we coming at, who are we coming out of this? And a big conversation in a lot of that is that the pandemic also sort of erased entire categories of friends and relationships, right? The sort of casual working relationships, or grocery store or coffee shop relationships that we had. But also, I mean, through all of this, we have forged brand new relationships. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about what kind of new relationships working in the street and creating these shared spaces has brought into your life, or to the BCMA's life.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the beautiful things that has come as a result of this is neighbors getting to know their neighbors more in these small business areas. Just thinking about the street closure, I mean, people worked together to set it up and break it down. Employees of different businesses,
Oh,
each sending, each sending a couple of folks.
I'm curious to see how, like,
from the street. Deliveries from the street.
That's my lunch right there. Hold on. I'm gonna go to my office 1 second. Change my lighting. Okay. We've moved on to a different location.
Mood lighting, I love it.
I'm gonna change my lighting here so that you can see me. That's my friend Rob, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to tell him to not speak right now. So I'm gonna just do this. So that you can see my face. I have a very mood lit office that works for just concentration, but not for things like this. Ooh, okay. Right. So I think one of the things that that has happened that has been really beautiful is neighbors who didn't really ever get to know each other or meet were working together to save their block, and it was really cool just seeing restaurant owners and retail shop owners kind of link arm in arm to set up and break down the street closure when we were doing it that way, and also like the lights project that Valencia Street is launching this week. We have over 40 businesses plugging the lights into their power to collectively light the corridor. And I don't think we would have gotten this project done if it weren't from the pandemic. And so I wish it didn't take something as tragic as a global pandemic to get people to work together more, but that has been a fringe benefit to it all.
Mhm, mhm. Well, hey, we've got to salvage what we can from the tragedy too, right? And so coming together I mean, lighting up Valencia is huge. It's beautiful, right? It's an incredible, beautiful project that's going to be there.
Are you
For
gonna come to the lighting ceremony on Friday?
I am. I'm going to be there. Tom and I will be there, so we'll be
Great.
cheering under the lights.
We're thinking about getting fire dancers. Do you think that's a bad idea?
um, I it's a lighting ceremony. It's a
You
lighting
gotta have,
ceremony, Manny.
yeah, you gotta have fire
Bring light
dancers.
to the dark.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point, right?
Bring the light to the dark. I love
That's
it.
what
Well,
I'm saying. Okay, I'm gonna confirm the fire dancers. We're doing it.
all right. Okay, well, so then that's the perfect segue into the future. And thinking about, you're creating this space, and it's been a lifeline during the pandemic. But let's just do our big dreaming big exercise, which is we're in the future. COVID is done. You're in the middle of the street. It's your joy moment. What does that look and feel like?
Like, what does it feel like for me, or what do I want it to feel like on the streets?
Both. First you, because it's your joy moment.
Um, and this is gonna sound so lame, but what I'm looking forward to is I'm looking forward to all the joy and the hugging and all that stuff, but I think what I'm even more looking forward to is just not the pandemic and all the rules and restrictions around it not entering my
Mhm.
consciousness. Because that's at this point the heaviest weight of it has been just this constant focus on thinking about, reading about, engaging with this thing, this invisible thing.
Mhm.
um, and I'm just excited to move on, you know, intellectually and spiritually, just like not forgetting about the virus, forgetting about the pandemic. One of the exciting things about the president saying that people don't have to wear masks if they're outdoors and in small groups has been not having to think like the mask forces you to constantly be thinking about the virus, and I'm really excited to not have to wear masks and not have to think about the virus anymore.
Mhm.
For streets, I think that that crashing into strangers, not physical crashing, but the meeting people and running into folks and giving them hugs and catching someone's eye at a bar and like walking up to them and giving them your number, like that's the kind of stuff that, first of all, I don't think anyone takes for granted anymore. But we really need to have a healthy city. That's why people go to cities, for the entropy of it all and the happenstance. And this past year has just been far too contrived, too planned, too expected. You had to choose the 6 people that you were going to spend time with and only spend time with them. And that's just not a way to live. And so I'm excited for all that to happen on our streets, in our businesses, on our sidewalks, people just crashing into each other.
Mhm. Yep. I know. I miss that. I miss that too, right? Just like the serendipity of an afternoon in the city, right? Where you're just like, oh my gosh, I ran into friends, and then we ended up going to a dance party, and it was just fabulous, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I miss that so much.
It's gonna
All
come
right.
soon.
It is. I know it's right around the corner. It is right around the corner, and staying connected to our streets and to these spaces that actually allow for that kind, organic and serendipitous meeting of people, and minds and fun and joy. How can Livable City and the Livable City family help your community stay connected in the streets, as we move past COVID?
Well, first of all, Livable Cities has been so helpful in keeping the street closure alive, which has been a complete transformational program for Valencia Street, and taking up that mantle when it's been a bit of a ragtag thing to organize from the beginning, and you guys took it on, were so professional, and have been running the street closure so well. So that already, Livable City has been very, very helpful to my neighborhood, my corridor. And I think continuing to figure out ways to work together to keep that street closure going. Obviously, Sunday Streets is an important part of Valencia corridors, fabric and our energy. And I think just putting my SFMTA hat on, we need organizations like Livable City to push the envelope and force us to rethink how we use our streets so that we're in the same old ways of thinking. And I'm very interested in working with Livable City on coming up with ideas and pushing the envelope and thinking outside the box and trying to, you know, create more opportunities for joy and kinship and love on our streets, because that's what San Francisco is all about. So there's a lot of stuff I want to work on with you all. I think continuing these street closures citywide, I think maybe connecting them through a network of slow streets. I think finding ways to make sure that there are closed streets in neighborhoods that don't necessarily have the funds to, pay for all this stuff, and so making sure it's being distributed more equitably around the city.
Mhm.
Um, we need organizations like Livable City to take ideas and make them reality. So it's been a joy working with you all already, and I can't wait to keep doing it.
Well, the feeling is mutual, Manny. It's been a delight. And I said, transform Valencia really is so much. It's like one of my first trips to San Francisco is wandering around Valencia Street, right? Like it really is the center. In some universes, it is the center of some universes in a really important way. And it's been a delight working with you, and I'm really excited that you're on the SFMTA board, and that we get to dream big about how we can actually fill our streets with joy, and fill the city back up with joy coming out of the pandemic. So I'm excited to continue working with you as well, and continuing on Valencia Street. So we have many more conversations to have. So, Livable City family, thank you for tuning in today to 25% More Joy with Manny here. But we will be definitely connecting more on the 25% More segment with more everyday San Franciscans talking about reclaiming their streets. But we're also going to be having more conversations with Manny, and we do encourage you to tune in, and definitely get out to your friendly neighborhood open streets program and enjoy it. Until next time, have a good play in the streets, Livable City family.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.